Imagine a reality so fragile that the death of a single insect can rewrite the course of human history. This is the premise of Ray Bradbury's A Sound of Thunder, published in 1952. Bradbury used a descriptive, image-heavy style to explore the specific dangers of unchecked technological progress. The narrative takes place in the year 2055. Time Safari Inc. has commercialized time travel, charging wealthy elites $10,000 for the privilege of traveling millions of years into the past to hunt prehistoric game. The target of this specific expedition is a Tyrannosaurus rex. The safari guides describe it explicitly as the most incredible monster in history. By tracking the failure of this one hunting party, Bradbury provides a mechanical autopsy of how a minor user error in a complex system can trigger a total systemic collapse. This breakdown of history relies on a specific intersection of class power, primal psychology, and the mathematical laws of chaos. Written just after the Second World War, the text is deeply steeped in Cold War anxieties. The recent deployment of atomic weapons proved that human technology now possessed the capacity to cause irreversible, total global devastation. The story explores how a single hunter's physical misstep in 60 million BCE manages to restructure the political reality of 2055. Our protagonist is Eccles, a man who hands over a $10,000 check to purchase an adventure. He represents a wealthy elite utilizing capital to buy access to a dangerous, exclusive technology. Time Safari Inc. is a capitalist enterprise, turning nature into a luxury commodity. The time machine is their means of production, exploiting history for entertainment. This creates a class division. Working-class guides must manage the physical danger and professional fallout of elite mistakes. The company mitigates this risk with a levitating metal path, instructing clients never to step off. This path represents the capitalist illusion of control, believing natural systems can be perfectly regulated for profit. But the system is fragile. Eccles' recklessness demonstrates how the irresponsible actions of a privileged class, shielded from immediate consequences by their wealth, can destabilize the fabric of civilization. That destabilization begins the moment the hunting party arrives in the past. The Tyrannosaurus rex emerges from the mist, towering 30 feet above the trees. Bradbury describes it as a great evil god, with delicate watchmaker's claws and a ton of sculptured stone for a head. Faced with the physical reality of the dinosaur, Eccles suffers a total fracture of will. He drops his weapon, panics, and retreats blindly, stepping off the path onto the ancient soil. This mental collapse mirrors Freud's id, ego, and superego. Eccles' id drives his primal terror. His ego, the rational mediator, fails under pressure, making him abandon the path. Finally, Travis acts as the punishing superego, enforcing authority and demanding a penalty when rules are broken. Eccles' downfall is a structural failure of his own mind. His unconscious fears override his rational control, resulting in a failure to balance internal forces. The scale of this failure becomes apparent when the party returns to 2055. The world feels subtly wrong. The Time Safari sign on the wall is now spelled phonetically, Tymesefari. The political reality has shifted. Before the hunt, a progressive candidate named Keith had won the presidency. Now the office belongs to Deutscher, a militaristic, authoritarian leader, mirroring the fascist politics of the mid-20th century. Eccles checks his boots and finds the source of this timeline shift. Embedded in the mud is a single crushed butterfly. This mirrors meteorologist Edward Lorenz's weather simulations. To save time, he entered .506 instead of the precise .506127. This tiny omission produced a completely different prediction, proving chaotic systems are extremely sensitive to initial conditions, a dynamic known as the butterfly effect. Bradbury illustrates this mathematical concept perfectly. The death of one insect starves a specific predator, which starves another, creating a biological chain reaction that compounds over millions of years, eventually determining the winner of a modern election. By showing how sensitive the timeline is to a microscopic disturbance, the story challenges the linear model of cause and effect, proving that everything in the environment is delicately interconnected. The phrase, "a sound of thunder," refers first to the physical presence of the T-Rex, the literal roar and footfall of a creature that dominates the ancient jungle. The phrase appears a second time in the final sentence. As Eccles realizes his mistake and begs for a chance to fix it, Travis raises his weapon, and the story concludes with a final sound of thunder. This final sound is a gunshot. It represents the price of human arrogance. Eccles cannot undo the damage he has caused, and Travis executes him to exact accountability for a destroyed history. Both instances of thunder signal the end of something powerful. The first marks the end of an ancient biological giant, and the second marks the end of a man who failed to recognize the unpredictability of the forces he was manipulating. Ultimately, Bradbury's text is a cautionary tale about the responsibility that comes with technological power. It demonstrates that human control over complex systems is largely an illusion. When that illusion shatters, we are left to face the extreme fragility of our environmental balance. An action taken in isolation never stays isolated. It echoes downward through centuries, shifting the outcome of every election and the very spelling of the words on our walls. Every creature has a role to play in the environmental order. Crushing even the tiniest could prove disastrous.